Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today I have good fortune to be interviewing Gail Doby, best-selling author, #1 international bestseller in 5 countries. The book is Business Breakthrough, Your Creative Value Blueprint to Get Paid What You're Worth. Gail, thank you so much for joining us.
Seth, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Let's go back in time a little bit because you originally had a finance degree and worked for a Fortune 500 company. So talk to us a little bit about your journey because you've had some interesting career paths.
Well, yes, I started right out of college with my first degree and went to work for Fortune 500 in sales and marketing. And I was in the home furnishings industry, and I actually called on architects and designers many, many years ago. So that was my path. And then I ended up working for a subsidiary of American Airlines and ended up being in the creative industry of helping to set up a whole facility, a commercial building. And I had to do the interior design work on that as well. So that kind of led me down the path. And eventually, about the time that I got to Denver, met my husband, and I went back to school and got a design degree. And here I am now. I've been doing a consulting business for creatives.
All right. Well, congratulations. Obviously, the longer version of that story is in the book, and we'll tell everybody where to go get it.
Sure.
So how did Doby Coaching and Consulting come about? What inspired you to pull the trigger and leave the bigger companies that you were working for and hang up your shingle with Aaron?
You know, that's a great question because sometimes things happen because you have so much experience. And one day she and I were talking about what we wanted to do. And I was fortunate enough to have hired her 16 and a half years ago. And she's just been a tremendous help to me to build this business. And we were talking one day about what we wanted to do. And I said, you know what? I really enjoy the business part of what I do more than I do the design work. So we started talking about what we would do. And next thing you know, we're starting this business. And we're now almost 14 years into it. And we have helped many, many designers double, triple, quadruple, 10x their businesses over that period of time and earn a lot more profit and enjoy what they're doing a lot more.
That is a huge claim and incredible results you've been able to deliver. We don't want all the secret sauce, but just enough to get them to want to go get the book. So sure. What are some of your key principles in terms of achieving those types of results? Because obviously the principles that you're teaching apply to more than just the design business.
Well, absolutely. This applies to any business, but specifically, I have designed this book to help people that are in the creative industry. And I think the reason that it was so important to me to do that was because I see so few people that have any training in how to run a business. And we know that the majority of companies that are out there, about 90% fail in the first 10 years. So I want to see that change. And I am so committed to helping our particular industry break out of that habit of not being successful. So I really believe that one of the first things that people have to do is get their mind in the right place so they can actually believe in themselves enough that they can build a business that is very successful. And one of the things I see happening so often is that people believe that they're creatives and they should not get paid for what they do creatively. And that to me is a big problem. And that's one of the reasons they don't get paid well.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit. What do you mean they
Sure.
think they should not be paid for it?
Well, they think it's too easy. So why should somebody pay them for what they're doing that's so natural to them? It's a passion for them. And I think that's a mistake, because a lot of people that are so good at so many things, that's really what you should be charging for, because other people find it impossible to do what you're capable of doing.
Okay, so we've got to get them over their mindset to where they actually believe and accept that they should be paid for that designing. Obviously, running a design business isn't taught in design school. Just like if you're a chiropractor or you're a doctor, they teach you the craft, they don't teach you the business part. So
Exactly.
how do you uncover those limiting beliefs and then help them get changed?
Well, if you have a conversation with somebody for about 5 minutes, you can find out how they feel about money, and also how they feel about success and how they define success. And if they don't define success with some sort of numerical result, then they are probably a little bit scared of actually making money doing it. So I think there's a lot that is deep down. And what I find also is that there are some things that may have come from childhood that people are learning from their parents. You shouldn't make money, you shouldn't talk about money. And because of this, they have this fear around money, and they don't talk about it directly. And because they don't talk about it directly, then they're not confident that they should be earning that kind of money.
Absolutely. And then once we've got them through that, how do we get them to recognize, what they're worth?
Well, that's an interesting process. And something that we do with clients is we'll sit down with them and figure out where they want to go and how much they want to earn in their lifetime, or maybe the next 10 years of their business. And we actually put together a 3-year plan, a financial plan for them, so they can see, okay, if I charge this and I have this many clients and I operate my business this way, and these are my costs, then this is what I'm going to get to keep after all of those things actually transpire. And once we actually put a plan together, then they start believing, I can do this. This is very achievable. But if you don't have a plan, then it just seems overwhelming.
Absolutely. And then when you put those numbers to it, I bet you get some interesting reactions.
I think one of the biggest ones that I've seen is tears. And the tears come when people realize that, oh my gosh, I can actually make a real living doing what I'm doing. And I have one client that in one of our conversations, he had been up all night working. He came into a meeting. We started talking about how much he had done in the short time that he'd been working with us. And he was shocked. He had doubled his profit in 1 year. And he just said, I just never believed I could make this kind of money doing what I'm doing.
That is absolutely incredible. You talk in the book about the importance of not trying to be everything for everybody, right? Of picking a target market. Can you talk a little bit about why that's so important?
Well, I think it's beyond just a target market. If you have a particular type of business that you want to do, so say, for example, you're an architect or you're a designer, and you decide that you're going to be a residential designer or architect, then you've got to decide, what kind of people do I want to work with? And I think one that's important, and I've said this to many of my clients, don't pick somebody as a target client that you think is ideal just because they have money. Money is great, but you need to find people that you align with in terms of values that you can serve. And if you don't have that alignment, you're going to end up having arguments about money. It's inevitable that that's going to happen. So don't try to find a client just because they have money.
I think having some standards and some specificity and some alignment obviously makes a huge difference, because you don't want them to get through the process and then build a business that they can't stand.
Exactly.
You want them to do work that they love, getting paid what they're worth with people that they enjoy working for, right?
Exactly.
What is it that you find? I mean, you've now worked with hundreds, if not thousands, of design businesses and influenced even more with the book. What is most surprising to you along the way?
I think that the most surprising thing is that people learn that they actually enjoy the business more than they enjoy the creative part. And when they first come to me, they usually tell me, I love what I do. I love being a designer. I love being an architect. And about 3 years into that, they will tell me, oh my gosh, I really love the business and I'd rather have somebody else do the design work. I'd
Wow.
say that's probably the most exciting thing.
That's one heck of a transition. How are you pulling off the brainwashing?
That's a good question. I think what it is once they realize that business is not as scary as they think it is, and that they actually can learn the numbers, that they are intrigued with the fact that they can actually build something that is going to impact their lives, and they can impact other people's lives as well. So one of the things I love to do is help people be so successful that they have money left over to be able to do charitable work and influence so many different people in their community as well. And it's because they have that extra money.
So you're not just teaching how to be a better designer, you're teaching how to be a real business owner.
Well, yes, and I think that should be the goal. Otherwise, it's just a job and you're getting paid for it. But if you're just trying to build a job for yourself, then if you're not working, then you're not getting paid. So I'd rather see someone build a business where they have a team, and then they have the freedom and the time and the work-life balance that they're looking for if they have a well-designed business.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions you've run across in terms of the response to your message?
I think a lot of people are still scared that they can't learn the numbers, that it's over their head. I see the swipe over the head, where they say, it just goes right over my head. I don't understand this. And I said, I bet I can teach you that. And one of the things that I love is usually in the days when I'm teaching people about the numbers so that they can read their financial statement and know what it's saying on their P&L and their balance sheet, the light bulb goes off and all of a sudden they start crying because they understand something that they thought was virtually impossible for them to learn. And as soon as they have that, it can never be taken away, and they can always run a successful business.
When did you realize you were going to be teaching numbers as a second language?
Well, I think that it was just something that was necessary, because to me, the reason I was successful in my business is because I did have that finance background and I could put a budget together and I understood how to make a profitable business. And if people will learn that part, then we'll have better success and we'll have less people failing at their businesses.
Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
I think it's just so much fun to see people grow. One of my favorite stories is I have a client who started her business and came to me when she was working all by herself. She was making about $300,000 a year. And this year she'll probably make somewhere around 15 times that.
Wow.
And it's been in 7 years. And she is at a point where her husband could start his own business as well. And we can look at her numbers and she knows that she's going to have the money to send her kids to college wherever they want to go. And they'll have the money that they want to live a great lifestyle. They'll have the financial freedom that they want, and they'll be able to give back. So to me, that's really the most exciting part of what I get to do.
For our folks who are watching and listening, where is the best place for them to go to get a copy of the book and to learn more about you?
Well, thank you for asking. GailDoby.com is where they can learn about me, and they can go over to Amazon, or they can go to Barnes & Noble and they can look for Business Breakthrough by Gail Doby, and that's the best place to buy the book.
Now, in the book, you talk about the importance of documenting repeatable tasks to really create systems. Why is that so important, and how do we get started?
Well, that's a great question too. And I think most people don't like to repeat themselves. So if you find that there's something in your business that you're doing more than once, then you need to have a process written down. And once you do that, then you can teach someone else to do that. And then you don't have to do that. So that's how you start expanding your business, by having the ability to scale, by teaching other people how to do things the way you want them done.
And you talk
I
about,
see a lot of,
sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And you talk about how even if you don't have the people to do it yet, you want to start documenting it from the very beginning so that someday, should you get to that point, they can hit the ground running.
Well, I think that a lot of people don't believe that they want to have a company or a lot of people working on their team. But once they start hiring, they realize that it's not as scary as they thought it was. Most people are worried that they can't keep paying somebody in case they can't continue to get more business. But what they realize is it frees them up to go get more business so that they can have other people doing things that they don't like to do. So all of a sudden you have freedom because you have grown and scaled your business and have made it easy to teach other people on your team to do those things on your behalf.
And we're talking about a creative business. How do you market that differently than if we were selling a widget?
Well, first of all, you have to market yourself. You're not marketing a widget. So you have to be able to talk about yourself and have confidence to believe that other people should pay you for what you're worth. And a lot of people are scared to do that. They feel as if it's tooting their own horn. And the reality is people want other people who are confident to serve them. And if they can be more confident and believe in themselves, then they will earn more than they could ever even imagine. It's just amazing.
Absolutely. With all the success you've achieved, what's your biggest challenge now?
Well, my biggest challenge is I have a great team and they're phenomenal. And I am getting my company ready for growth, for rapid growth. So that's the next step for me. And eventually, like most businesses, in fact, it's kind of funny to talk about this, but when you start your business, you should be thinking about your exit from your business as well. And so as you start planning how you're going to grow your business, you need to be thinking about, will I sell this to my employees? Will I sell it to somebody on the outside? What am I going to do when I decide I don't want to work as hard as anymore? So for me, I'm preparing my company for the next step, which is to have other people run the company on my behalf.
Well, that is absolutely incredible. And congratulations on everything you've achieved, all the designers and people you've helped, and the launch of the book. What else do you want to share that I haven't thought to ask you yet?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that if you have it in your heart to start a business, you should do it. But before you do it, either read my book or read someone's book that can help you figure out how to go about doing it so that you make money at it. That's the real key, is making sure that you're prepared before you jump in with both feet.
That is great advice. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We know your time's incredibly valuable. This has been Seth Greene with Gail Doby of gaildoby.com and Business Breakthrough, your creative value blueprint to get paid what you're worth. Make sure you check out Gail at her website and the book at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Gail, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Seth. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening, and we'll talk to you or see you next time.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.